looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking their necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
What's going on, everybody? Talking Friars here. Ben Fadden with you on what is today? Today's Wednesday? Padres, I don't know the day of the week, but Padres, all I know, they are 7-0. They have not lost since the beginning of the regular season started, since opening day. And the bullpen has been great, and there's been contributors all around the lineup. They win today's game against the Guardians to sweep the Guardians. They won this one today 5-2. Dylan Cease, he's back to being Dylan Cease. I mean, we saw that with Michael King last night. He's back to being Michael King as he goes 5 shutout innings and strikes out 11. Dylan Cease goes 6 1/3, strikes out 7, walked only 1, and gave up only 1 run. You had Luis Arraez homer today. You had the star of the day, the guy, the main attraction of the day, if you will, the big story of the day, Jackson Merrill. He homered again. That's his second consecutive game with a homer. So I want to, make this a fan show as I always like to do, but especially today when Jackson Merrill signs this extension and Padres haven't lost a game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments live on YouTube. If you want to join the show, click that link. I think it's pinned up at the top of the chat, and you can come join and give your thoughts on this day. A pretty darn awesome day to be a Padres fan, and it's been an awesome season so far. I know it's early for sure. It's April 2nd, but it's been a heck of a ride already. And let's get into these 3 games in this series, and I'll have some more thoughts, obviously, on Jackson Merrill. I did upload that bonus reaction to Jackson Merrill on the podcast platforms if you missed that. And then I obviously put it out on YouTube this morning as well. It was good timing because I got it out before I left for work and then got back today. Now we can talk about the Padres sweeping the Guardians and not losing a game so far. The Dodgers now, I believe, are down to the Braves, so the Padres could end up remaining undefeated farther than the Dodgers this season. But today a 5-2 win over the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians are now 2-4 for anyone that cares. Today was an interesting one. Sure, there was the pop with Luis Arraez with the Petco Park homer, Jackson Merrill taking the breaking ball deep, but it was also like, okay, the Padres, they're smarter than the Guardians. And the whole Little League thing or even like high school baseball, where you send the runner to second base, have him get hung up, not get tagged out, but give him time, have the runner on third, right? There's first and third, have the runner go home and steal home. And that's exactly what happened for the Padres for their first run of the game. You can look at that video. I think I retweeted it on my Talking Friars Twitter account. But yeah, Luis, and it made perfect sense when it happened in the bottom of the third when Arraez, because he's not fast, and Bo Naylor, still a pretty young catcher, not the best catcher in baseball for sure. And the Padres capitalized on this the whole series, might I add, when Hedges wasn't in the game. But Arraez, not the fastest runner, he gets hung up. Obviously was going to get thrown out if the tag was placed, so he did a good job at that. With it was probably a delayed steal. And then you have the perfect guy on third base. It's not like you have Elias Diaz on third base. You have Toddy on third base, and he goes and can score on that play. It was a fine throw by I forget who was it. Who was at second base? Was it I forget if it was Schneemann who tried to make that throw or if it was Arias that tried to make that throw, but it was one of them. But Tatis was going to make it. And so that's like smart Padres baseball. Taking, Schilt loves to say this, right? Taking everything, not giving them anything. And the Padres have done a really good job of taking everything, taking those opportunities. Have they been perfect at every opportunity this year? No. But there's been a lot of opportunities where, you go back to yesterday with Elias Diaz up at the plate, get runners to second and third, get down that bunt so you have one out with Tatis coming up. and you're able to do that. Or it's Brandon Lockridge taking a ball the other way, or Gavin Sheets taking a ball the other way, or Jackson Merrill on opening day with the sack flies and being super pumped up because he got the job done. He didn't hit a homer, didn't hit a ball in a gap, didn't get a hit, but all he cares about is winning. And I'll talk about that more with the press conference, some of that press conference audio that he had earlier today before this game. But yeah, just the Padres, they have been doing the little things. And I love it. Mike Schilt has got to be the happiest guy on this planet right now with the way that his team is playing and knowing that Jackson's going to be here long term too. But yeah, as for the rest of the scoring in this game, Manny had an RBI single, got through Jose Ramirez. Arraez scored, and actually there was a throwing error by Jose Ramirez. Sorry. Made it 2-0 Padres. Merrill with that homer on the breaking ball. These pitchers continue to hang breaking balls to Merrill, thinking that they're going to get away with that. They're not going to. This dude's a stud. So that made it 4-0. Top 7 came around. Lane Thomas, RBI ground out. Bottom 7, Luis Arraez with that homer. 5-1. And who was on the top step? Super excited for Arraez. Jackson Merrill. Shocker. Guardians did add a run in the 8th, but this bullpen, Morejon did give up an earned run, but this bullpen, entering today, they had not allowed a run since Alec Jacob pitched on opening day. So since the first reliever in relief of Michael King pretty early in that game against the Braves that this past Thursday, they have not allowed a run since then, since Morejon's 1 earned run today. The 3 hits that he allowed. You know, like this, and by the way, this bullpen, no Brian Hoeing, no Sean Reynolds. I thought yesterday, Omar Cruz, to see him close that game down, it's good that he's alive. You know, that was his first, I'm joking, but that was his first appearance with the Padres, and it just took a little bit. But yeah, a lot of good moments from the series, just this bullpen overall. Love Jason Adam. Love me some Jason Adam. I hope that he can stay with the Padres long term. Although it's going to cost money for sure. He's pretty darn good. And then obviously Suarez. You have, Jeremiah Estrada, like those 3 right there. And then Morejon, obviously, we know what he can do. I think shout out to Yuki Matsui as well. I think he's gotten more comfortable here early on in year 2. May not be talked about a bunch because he's looked at as more, middle bottom of the bullpen. But he's a lefty, and Morejon's not going to be available every game. So Matsui's going to be taking care of some big outs this season. Shout out Jason Adam yesterday. Bases loaded there. After Yuki walked a couple guys, struck out a couple guys, but walked a couple guys. And then Adam hit a guy, but then got out of it. So huge job from him. Dylan Cease hitting on him today, 6 1/3, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 7 punch outs, 4 hits. Obviously, his first outing, second game of the season last Friday, wasn't the best. Wasn't as bad as Michael King, but that's not the Dylan Cease that we know. Today was more like that. I said, I think yesterday on my reaction, that Michael King was throwing a wiffle ball out there. Dylan Cease was throwing a frisbee. I mean, how it seemed like some of his pitches, I think it was the changeup, maybe I'm just totally missing on what pitch that was. But Pitching Ninja had some of those clips out today, and my goodness, that ball looked like it was going to go down on some of those pitches, and instead it just went to the side and just stayed up. And it's like, good luck hitting that if you're Cleveland Guardians batters. Good luck. And then obviously he had the breaking ball, has the velocity with the fastball. But yeah, you could see today why he's going to get maybe $200 million in free agency. That guy's going to get paid. But yeah, so far, and again, it's early, but so far, the Padres, them saying, no, we're going to go for it this year because we don't know about in the future. We're going to sign Nick Pivetta. We're going to keep Michael King. We're going to keep Dylan Cease. We're going to keep Robert Suarez. We're going to keep Luis Arraez. We're going to keep these guys and go for it. So far, it's working out pretty darn well. Robert Suarez as the closer. Dylan Cease, obviously. Michael King. These last 2 outings, really good. And then who am I not? Arraez. Starting to come around. Slow start, obviously. Terrible start for him. if you're just going to look at the batting average. But I was never worried about Luis Ariz. I don't think anyone in this town, to be honest, was worried about Luis Ariz. Just like we weren't worried about Michael King, we weren't worried about Dylan Cease, and we were all right because we believe in those players. They had the track records. We know how talented those guys are, and that was just going to speak for itself. So I'll get to the Merrill stuff, obviously, but I just want to go through game 2. Obviously, I gave my post-game reactions on YouTube after these first 2 games, but um, so if you want that, you can go on YouTube to find that. But I may have some other thoughts with these 2 games. But yeah, 7-0 in game 2. Obviously, love what you see from the offense and the production. I think I talked about it on the post game last night, but either scoring a run or driving in a run, getting a hit, sack bunt like Elias Diaz, even if he went 0 for 3 and it looks like nothing on the line that he had there, he still contributed. But you look at everyone. Tatis scores a run, drives in 2. Arise drives in a run. Manny scores a run, couple of hits. Bogarts 1 for 4, drove in a run. Merrill drove in a run, scored a couple of runs. Obviously had a homer. Yuli Gurriel, okay, maybe not him. Walked once. I would have went with Sheets, but it's early in the season. They want to go with the platoons. I guess I get it. Iglesias, 1 for 1, scored a run. Crony, pinch hit. Mike Schilt continuing to press all the right buttons. 2 for 2, 1 run scored, 1 RBI. His pinch hit comes, first at bat, boom. Lockridge, 1 run scored, got a hit, walked once. Hayward got a hit. And then Diaz with that sack bunt to get runners, I believe, second and third for Tatis to come up. And then he has that sack fly. So, and that was in that 3rd inning where, let me go to that 3rd inning here. You had the Iglesias walk, Lockridge doubled, that got it to second and third. Excuse me, that got it to first and, no. What did that get that to? Is this correct? Lockridge doubled. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Second and third. The fielder's choice. No, it wasn't the 3rd inning. What inning was that? The 5th inning, sorry. My bad, not the 3rd inning, 5th inning. Iglesias single, Lockridge walk. There we go. So it was first and second. Then Diaz had the sack bunt. Tatis sack fly. Made it 2-0 there. Arise with the single, made it 3-0. So just like a good baseball team inning. And we've seen a lot of that. So love what I'm seeing from the Padres, obviously being 7-0. Like, I'm not going to be negative here. If you're looking for someone to try to be negative and try to find something to be negative about, I'm not going to do that. I refuse to do that. I'm a Padres fan. I don't get paid to be negative about this team. I'm just giving you my reaction, and it's like the Jackson Merrill, I guess, mentality, right? Sure, he's always looking to improve, but like, bottom line, you could be disappointed with someone's performance. Did the Padres win the baseball game? The answer is yes, and the answer has been yes for every game this season. So it's positivity abound, plentiful. Is that a word? Plenty of optimism here for me. But yeah, a 7-0 win. It was great to see Michael King bounce back. Again, didn't have any doubt. 5 innings, no runs, 11 punch outs. Guy was so nasty up there. I mean, these Guardians hitters had to be they were tortured with these last couple of days, having to face Cease and face King. Game 1 of the series, Padres won 7-2. J-Ram of the Guardians got on early with the 1-0 lead on that solo homer, but then the Padres came back. Gavin Sheets doubled to right. It was raining, which was that happened pretty abruptly. Hayward sack fly made it 3-1. Him contributing to the Padres offense. When I talk about pretty much everyone contributing, at some point everyone has contributed. Even if it's Yuli Gurriel. Remember, he had the 1 run the Padres scored on that Saturday night when Vasquez started. I think that was the Fox game. Yuli Gurriel came through with that pinch hit knock. So everyone is coming through in some way to help this team win. Even if they had a bad start the first time around, they come back and have a really good start to be a big reason why the Padres win one of these games in this Guardians series. So it really has been a team effort. This bullpen has been tremendous. Can't speak highly enough of that. And yeah, Tatis had that RBI single, made it 4-1. Hedges homered, so random, but I guess not random because he's a former Padre. Made it 4-2, but then Sheets came through, not trying to do too much. Just take the ball opposite field, down the left field line. Made it 6-2. Hayward with a double, 7-2, his first hit, I think that was, with the Padres. And again, obviously on social media, there's like the Hayward hate, and he should be released. And the Padres, what are they doing? Why are they pinch hitting Hayward in a certain situation? Mike Shildt, if that's the one thing you're going to ding Mike Shildt on this year so far, okay. Again, the Padres are 7-0. He is like 99% hitting on the moves that he's making. And by the way, he can't control what happens once he makes the move. So it's a little bit out of his control, you know. All he can do is just make the best decision in his mind, and then whatever happens, happens. If it works out, it's a great move. If it doesn't work out, what are you thinking? This guy needs to be fired, you know. Tatis, what a freaking start this guy's off to, huh? That leadoff spot, treating him well, and you know him being healthy, what that does. Same with Manny and Arise. Arise starting to get going. Tatis has a 106.1 OPS to start the year. 5 ribbies, a homer, 7 runs scored in 7 games, 5 ribbies, 5 stolen bases, 423 average. I'd say that's pretty darn good. I mean, let's go through the big guys. Obviously, like I talked about, there's been production from everyone. But if the Padres want to go where they want to go, these big guys got to produce. And Manny, so far this year, his OPS is 964, 5 runs scored, couple of ribbies, hitting 400. Let's go to Jackson Merrill. So far, he has a 1152 OPS, 2 homers, 8 ribbies, 5 runs scored. Let's go to Xander. I don't think he's being talked about too much. He has, well, it was better a couple days ago. 688 OPS. But he scored 4 runs, driven in 3 runs, and you'll take all of those runs. So, once we get the bigger sample size, you're going to want it better from Bogey, but still producing. Entering this series, he had an OPS over 900. And then Arise, going over his season numbers so far, that's not going to look good. But if we want to go through what he did in this series, he got a hit in game 1, got a hit in game 2, drove in a run in game 2, and then today, 2 hits, 2 runs scored, and then drove in himself with that solo homer. So there's been a lot of production from some of the big guys in this lineup. I don't want to leave out Crony because he should be included in this with the contract that he has and what he's done for the Padres in his career. 914 OPS so far this year. A homer, 2 ribbies, 5 hits, 6 runs scored. And some of those hits have been off of left-handed pitching. Obviously, that big homer that he hit on Friday against the Braves, it was against a lefty. And it goes to Mike Shildt. Not pressing a button, but not pressing that button ended up being the right move. Sticking with Crony, especially early in the season, giving his players, especially someone like Crony, who's an everyday player, giving those players that confidence. I think that's big. And, I can't find a player that doesn't like Shildt. You're not going to. The player may be disappointed that he gets sent down to El Paso or whatever, but like in terms of the guy that Shildt is, and he's always going to support his guys. Before I forget, I did want to mention Jose Iglesias because even if he hasn't done, unless I'm totally blanking, I don't think he's done anything really with the bat so far. He made one heck of a play today at third base. You should go look it up on social media. I'm pretty sure I tweeted it out or retweeted it. But yeah, my goodness. Diving on his butt, throw over to first to Arise. Props to Arise. Crony made a really good play, jump throw yesterday. So the defense has been pretty darn good. The bullpen's been great. The rotation, for the most part, has been really good. And this lineup's getting contributions from a lot of different guys. And there you go. That sums it up. 7-0. Taking what the opponents are giving them and not giving much away. 7-0. There you go. All right. Shout out to some of the great partners of this show, or all of the great partners of this show. By the way, hopefully we'll have some exciting news about another one coming up, but we'll see about that. Gagler and Bros, famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. Check them out. Link in the description to their website. You get the phone number, the address, cheesesteaks, garlic fries, cheesesteak fries, just regular. Like they've got a lot of great stuff there. So check them out. They've got a wider variety than they do at Petco and Snapdragon when you go into their shop. So maybe do that this weekend. Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztecs shirts and sweatshirts. Click that link in the description. Dylan Cease was wearing a Breaking Tea Jackson Merrill shirt today when he was talking to the media postgame. So if you want to go get the shirt that he was wearing, it's available on the Breaking Tea website. Click that link in the description. It'll take you to the San Diego page. Click the baseball section, and you will see all of the Padres Breaking Tea shirts that they've got there. They're working on, I'm in communication with them. They're working on some new Jackson Merrill stuff. So stay tuned for that, hopefully. And then they did just release Jackson Merrill stuff, I think, either on opening day or this season. They definitely did last week. So go check it out. There's a lot of Merrill stuff there. So if you want to celebrate Merrill's extension, they've got a lot of stuff there for you. And there's obviously a lot of other Padres players as well. SeatGeek code Talking Friars, $20 off your first order when you sign up with that code. Sign up with your email. Use that code, I should say, and you will get that discount. So trying to help you out there, whether that's Padres, SDFC, San Diego State basketball when they get back, San Diego State football when they get back, San Diego State basketball. If you missed my reaction, Magoon Guath back if he returns to college. That huge news. And then San Diego State also today, they landed, I don't want to forget his name, Sean Newman, I think is his name. He is a vet point guard. Like this may be the Nick Boyd of this year. He's coming from Louisiana Tech. So not this biggest school, but Sean Newman Jr. Lots of assists. No Division IIs were recruiting him, no junior colleges, but then he's now at San Diego State. So a pretty cool story. Says he's been overlooked his whole life. Mark Ziegler has some more stuff on that at the UT if you want to check that out. But yeah, just getting back to what I was saying. San Diego State basketball, they're going to be a fun watch this next year. And seeing Goon back, that's awesome. So if you want any Aztec stuff, they do have some stuff there on Breaking Tea. All right. Let's get to this Jackson Merrill press conference. I'm not going to play the whole thing, obviously. If you want to go watch it, it's on the Padres YouTube channel. The audio sucks. I'm just going to say it right now. I was trying to listen to it on my phone today. But yeah, the audio was not great. There was some stuff that you couldn't even hear what Merrill was saying. Audio cut out. And then you heard some of it. You heard a lot of what Merrill said. I don't want to make it seem like you didn't hear a lot of what he said, but some of it you didn't. But I like the Preller story at the beginning. I already knew that story. He already had told it, but of him being on the road because he didn't want to go to a Jackson Merrill home high school game because then more people would probably know like who he was looking at. But he went to a road Jackson Merrill high school game in Maryland, and he didn't want to be seen, and he was on the football field in the football bleachers, a couple hundred yards away, watching Merrill. And because it was like during COVID, someone kicked him out, and then so people were wondering who it was, and so he kind of had his low profile that he wanted to have there. He kind of got that blown up. And then someone was asking Preller some questions, and then he actually got introduced to Jackson Merrill's dad. So here he was wanting to keep a low profile and just, not have anyone know that he was there. And then he's talking to Jackson Merrill's dad for, 20 minutes or whatever it was. So pretty funny. But Yeah, he could just immediately tell the competitor that Jackson Merrill was right out of the bat, right off the gate, right off the bat, right out of the gate, excuse me. Um, just how much of a competitor he was, how much he wanted to win. Like it was obvious. And you can definitely see that today. So, yeah, the Padres credit to, and I loved you can go watch it back. I love that Preller shouted out so many people in that baseball operations staff, the scouting staff. He shouted out Nick Ennis and just the scouting group for getting that job done. I think Nick Ennis was the guy that he shouted out when it came to um like really getting things going with the Jackson Merrill extension conversations because Preller has a lot on his plate. So he's gonna have to delegate some stuff. And for Ennis to like have that relationship with Merrill's agents and the communication, it seemed like that was a big thing. So I love that Preller, took a moment to shout that out. And then also he talked about Peter and how proud or how much Peter would love this day because he talked about Jackson Merrill before he passed, and Jackson Merrill had not yet debuted in the big leagues. So yeah, I'm sure Peter's up there right now with a big smile on his face for not just how the Padres are playing right now, being 7-0, but that Mike Schultz, the manager, that Preller's the GM, the fans continue to show up, and his brother, a big, not as because I heard this on the radio today. It's not his first move because Pavetta was, I think, the first big move, significant move, but obviously the signature move that everyone's going to remember to be Jackson Merrill to be locked down. It's pretty cool. So yeah, obviously thinking about Peter. Obviously, not many days that go by that I don't think about Peter, to be honest. Um, and yeah, hopefully, I mean, I'm getting emotional just mentioning Peter's name. But yeah, just hoping that, one day those baseball gods will smile down and the Padres will, you know, finally get that job done. But yeah, Merrill, no doubt, like this is the guy that you build a franchise around. I know there's Manny, there's Tatis, there's special players in this organization. Musgrove's one of them. But a young player like this, he just, if there was someone that you drew up on like MLB The Show and there were I don't play that game, but let's say there's characteristics that you can, edit. This is the guy that you would build. Just loves baseball. And I thought it was fitting. Preller, Merrill, and Schilt were the three guys up there for that press conference today. And those are three baseball rats. They eat, breathe, sleep the game, whatever you want to call it. That's what they do. Merrill was talking about how dinners with Mike Schilt, they always end up talking about baseball because that's how much they love it. Obviously, Preller, we know his love for the game as well. And, him not getting much sleep and all that. But yeah, like it was cool seeing those three up there today. And the human being, I wrote about this on Gaslamp Ball today. The human being that Jackson Merrill is, raised by two, it seems like great human beings, and they raised him right. But just two teachers in Maryland. And obviously, when you have two teachers, you're probably not going to end up being a bad kid. And for him to embrace the city of San Diego like this, but not just that, he cares about the organization. There are guys that care and they're willing to do whatever whatever it takes once they get the money. Jackson Merrill's been willing to do whatever it takes to win since he got drafted. I mean, before when he was playing for his high school team too. But for the Padres, he's been willing to do whatever it took since he got drafted. From playing shortstop in the minors to experimenting in the outfield in the minors. I think he did for a little bit in left field. And then in spring training, preparing to play left field. And then that was for a couple days. And then, all right, Skip, I'll go play center field. Hit bottom of the order. Okay. Near the top of the order, hit leadoff at one point. Okay. Hit third. Okay. Hit fifth. Okay. Do whatever it takes. Opening day, you need to sack fly, not be the hero here, but he ends up being one of the heroes. Okay. And, Kevin Acee has written about Jackson Merrill last year when the Padres were playing the Diamondbacks, I think in September, in a playoff race, right? Well, actually, maybe they'd clinched. Yeah, they clinched a playoff spot, but maybe they were still fighting for the division technically. Anyway, whatever. In Arizona, totally would be understandable if he was just focused on the major league team and his job. But he took the 30-minute drive to Peoria to go watch players in the instructional league, minor leaguers, his guys. Spring training, he could have been out golfing or whatever he wants to do after a spring training game. He was sitting in there in the dugout. He was the only regular to be in the dugout numerous times through the remainder of the game when he got taken out. Those are his guys. And then talking about at the press conference today about how it's not hard to be connected and, care about this organization. Whether that's look on MILB.com and look at stats to stay in tune of who's performing and stuff, who's doing well. Um, having phone calls with guys to keep their confidence up and just check in on them. And because I think that matters to have minor leaguers. Imagine Jackson Merrill calls you and has a genuine conversation with you and cares about you. That's gonna mean a lot to those minor leaguers, and that's gonna probably boost their confidence. If Merrill's like, "Hey, I watched you the other night on let's say on our flight to Chicago, I was watching you play your Double-A game, and I loved that at bat you had in the third inning or whatever." Like, because Merrill, I feel like it would be someone to do that. That would probably mean a lot to those minor leaguers, and so I love how he stays connected like that. I remember, Ben and Woods talking about how Merrill was walking outside Petco the day of that Mike Schill introductory press conference before last season, in the off season last year. I mean, the guy just loves being a Padre, and you just don't. I mean, older Padres fans know better than me, obviously, but that's something that's special. You don't find that. That's not something that you see every year or every prospect that comes up is like that. That's not how it is. And so, just there's nothing that I can say bad about Jackson Merrill. There's nothing I can say. Seems like he's great with the fans. He's very appreciative with the fans. He mentioned how he wanted to do stuff in the community. Just the perfect Padre. And one day he's going to get a statue out there in Gallagher Square, I would think. I know it's 1 year, and that could totally be an overreaction, and he'd probably tell me, like, "Ben, shut up, let's slow your boats here, like, slow your roll. You're jumping ahead here, putting the cart before the horse, like, I gotta do this for decades before I do that, before I get that." But I'm just saying, this guy has the talent. He has the work ethic. He's not gonna slow down because he has money. And, when you talk about the team player that he is, and I think I talked about this on my initial reaction this morning, but for someone to take a 9-year, $135 million contract when your teammate in right field got $340 million and he had played less games than you had, and he had gone through injuries and you haven't, and you should have won Rookie of the Year this past season, and you've come up clutch in clutch moments, like, he could have totally demanded the Tatis contract. And I don't think people would have faulted him for doing so. But this guy was like, "No, I don't want to screw the organization. I don't need an infinite amount of money. I just want money to take care of my family, and I want to help this team win. And so if I can get my money and it's in a way that can, create flexibility, maintain flexibility, I guess is the better way to say it, for years to come so that we can win, then that's what I want to do." Would he like to have $300 million? Yeah, probably. But would you rather win with 135 or be Mike Trout? I'm not blaming Mike Trout for taking 426.5 mil, whatever it was with that contract. But I'm just saying, hopefully you get my point. Would you rather win, or would you rather have a bunch of money and then, your GM, your owner comes to you and is like, I can't spend on this big free agent that you want. We have our hands tied. Merrill sees the big contracts with Nando and with Bogarts and with Manny, right? Like, so for him to take this discount, man, that is, talk about team player and team first. If you can, sure, you're getting 135 mil, so I don't want to make it seem like he's getting $1,000, but When you're talking about team first for a contract, that's the definition of it. Because he totally could have. I saw people on social media today when I tweeted something about this saying, like, no way he could have demanded for $300 million. And I'm like, do you guys not realize that Tatis got $340 million from the same organization? And I know Peter's not alive, but like, do you realize he got 340 and he wasn't as impressive, in my opinion, as Jackson Merrill was at that point in time in comparison after 1 year? Now, Tatis was two technically, right? 19 and 20, but he hadn't played in as many games still as Merrill has. Hadn't played in the postseason. Merrill came up clutch. Padres don't make the postseason without Jackson Merrill. So yeah. I don't know what else to say other than like the perfect Padre. And those jersey sales, I mean, I've gone to 2 games so far this year. And I saw so many Jackson Merrill jerseys. I was one of them that was wearing it on opening day, but like so many number 3s. So he was already a fan favorite, but it's just going to get even more. Like, is it fair? Is it too early to say that Merrill's the face of the franchise? Because sure, there's Manny and Tatis, and there's faces of the franchise, Merrill, Tatis, Manny. And I personally would throw Musgrove in there. But as for like fan favorite, everyone loves him. Homegrown guy. He's gonna be here for a long time. He's young. I feel like Jackson Merrill's that guy. Do fans love Tatis? Sure, but I'm sure there's somewhere in this fan base that still aren't big fans of him because of the whole ringworm PD stuff. I'm sure there's some fans that aren't the biggest fans of Manny. Oh, he doesn't hustle and all this stuff, right? Or how he speaks to the media sometimes and all that, right? But Jackson Merrill, show me a fan that doesn't like Jackson Merrill, a Padres fan that doesn't like Jackson Merrill, you know? So if he's not the face of the franchise, or if he's not the fan favorite, he is one of them. He is one of the faces of the franchise. He was that before this contract, by the way. But yeah, I mean, is there a better representation that you would want for your franchise than what us Padres fans have with Jackson Merrill? You can find it for me. I mean, Mike Trout's, of course, but like, there's guys, but Jackson Merrill is totally up there. All right. Before getting to the chat, I did want to play some of my favorite moments from this Jackson Merrill press conference. And you can watch it on the Padres YouTube, the audio that you can actually hear. But, I talk about Merrill and his like team first mindset, and he's also very grateful for the position that he's in and just playing for the Padres and being in San Diego. And he has the right perspective. So here's this.
Specifically, since you've been in the major leagues, what is it that has made you kind of fall in love with this place?
I just think the energy always. It doesn't matter if it's the energy from the fans or the energy from the team or the energy from the coaches or people outside the field. There's just always a certain energy, always a positive energy here. I've never felt a negative energy. Even when we lose games, it's just like, how can you be so upset about where you are right now? You're playing in the big leagues, you're playing in San Diego. Like, there's really not much to complain about. So I think just Schulte always says that winners find a solution, and that's what we do here. So that's what I want to keep doing.
There you go. I mean, this dude's 21. He's younger than I am, which is crazy to say, to be quite honest. But yeah, I mean, we could take what Merrill said with like all of us in life. Now, I don't know, obviously, all of your personal situations, but I know for me, like, I mean, there's no reason to be complaining in like life, to be quite honest. You're living in San Diego. Your teams are pretty darn good. I know no championships, but like teams are pretty darn good. You've got a roof under your head. You have money. Like, let's not, you have food, like you have all that you need. And so I hope that a lot of people, heard that from Jackson today and they're like, oh yeah, like a light bulb goes off in their head. If they're kind of like maybe they were in like a negative headspace. Um, yeah, just great perspective that he has there. Just grateful for the situation that he's in. And I know personally for me, I'm grateful for the situation that I'm in. All right. Now, Jackson Merrill talks about winning.
No, I'm going to play hard every day. I'm going to play for a win. That's what I did last year. It's what I'm going to do every day this year. It's so much easier than playing for stats, playing for a prospect, whatever it's called. You're here to play baseball games and win. There's nothing else in this game that matters besides winning. If you don't win the championship, then you lost. If you're a little kid in a little tournament and you don't win the championship, like you don't feel like you accomplished what you wanted to go there and do. So for us, it's about winning. I know that stuff helps in the other side of things and trades and developing people, but for us up here, we're going to try and win, and then if that happens at the end of the day, it happens.
And Dennis, even last year when the rookie of the year vote came up, Jackson said to me, we were meeting in the office, he said, really want us to get a first round pick. So it's kind of where his head's at.
The guys just team for, some guys, oh yeah, rookie of the year. I want to win rookie of the year. I want to win rookie of the year so that I can help my team get a draft pick. That's who this guy is. And I'll read that quote again. There's nothing else in this game that matters besides winning. That's what he's showing with this contract extension. Sure, of course, money for your family and all that. Check. But the way that he did it, for the amount of money, for the amount of years, like that's team. It has team player written all over it. I love this moment with Merrill and Kevin Acee for the San Diego Union Tribune, where Merrill was kind of giving him some crap about writing. I think it was an article, and Merrill was slumping last year, and Merrill gave him some crap about it.
I have to actually thank Kev for writing articles when I slump because it makes me play better. But sorry, Kev, no hate, but it's just if I ever slump, keep writing them. MLB has to actually thank Kev for writing articles when I slump.
That's funny. Yeah, keep writing them, Kevin. If when Merrill ever struggles, write those articles, because if he's gonna play like he did last year, then yeah, keep doing it. But then I loved also after the press conference when the Padres kept filming, Kevin came up and Jackson was like, "All love, Kevin. I swear." Here's this audio.
All love, Kev. I swear.
And then they kind of dapped up a little bit. But yeah, and I know Kevin sometimes gets there's negativity towards him, and some fans on social media like don't like Kevin or something. But I think players actually appreciate Kevin, to be honest. I'm not in there, but I know I'd appreciate someone that was there every single day. And he may write a negative story like he did in 2023, but he's going to be there the next day. If you want to talk to him about it, he's going to be there. He's going to show up. He's there every day on the road, at home. He'll write positive articles, negative articles. He's there to do a job, and he shows up. And I think that, I think a lot of players can respect that, and I hope that they do. I know that I respect Kevin for being there consistently like that. So, not that means anything. It's just a thought that I had, but um, I personally love reading Kevin stuff. All right, going to the chat here. Bill says a focused baseball team right now, playing great baseball. I did see the Dodgers just tied it up against the Braves, so we'll see what happens there. Jose says, Ben, we were lucky to have Merrill and Nando for the next decade. Manny is balling out too. Yeah, hitting some balls hard. We know the defense is going to be there. And we know the talent is always there. It's just, really, it's health to me. Like, if he's healthy, he's a different player. We have a four-headed monster, Nando, Jackson, Manny, and Arise. Nando, Jackson, Manny, and Arise. Yeah. The only way I was like reading that again because I don't want to leave out other guys. Now, they're not part of the four-headed monster, but guys that are talented themselves as well. Like Crony and Bogey. Don't want to leave those guys out. And just overall, like everybody so far, Gavin Sheets, even like everyone, they have contributed and they've helped this offense. Pretty much everyone in some way. Yeah, that presser audio was trash. I had to turn it all the way up, and then I still barely was able to hear. At least on my phone. Mitchie says we can play with anyone. Yeah. I mean, the Padres and Dodgers, I don't think they meet until June. But I actually kind of like that, to be honest. Like, teams, there's so much going on early on in the season, and I should say, so many things change from what was going on early in the season. So to have the matchups later in the year, and this Padres team could be better, come trade deadline, let's say, I think that could help the Padres. And we'll have a better idea of how good the Padres are. What are the Dodgers? What's their health situation? And there's 13 matchups only. So instead of, having 3 now, we get 13 starting, I think, in June. So it's 13 in a shorter time frame instead of more spread out. I actually like it because I'm fine with it. I don't need to play the Dodgers right off the bat. I'm already excited for the season anyway. So yeah, we can play the Guardians. We can play whoever. Cubs and Braves are already exciting anyway, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, we can play the Sacramento A's. Some people are calling them the Triple A's, but because of the ballpark they're playing in. Although the talent's better than Triple A, I think the A's they've got some talent there. But yeah, I'm totally fine with the Dodgers and Padres not playing until later. I actually like seeing them consistently a little bit later in the year. Iron Swan says John Seidler's first act as owner, extending Merrill. Not a bad start. Again, I want to correct people. That's not his first act because Pivetta was signed, I think, after Seidler. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Pivetta was signed after Seidler took over. So really, it's that. But his first, move that we're going to remember a decade from now, yes, Merrill. I think most people would remember that more than Nick Pivetta. With all due respect, Nick, love having you on the team. But yeah, you're right. Not a bad start. Juan says, can't say Preller and ownership haven't done right by San Diego. They've made moves to make this a perennial playoff team. Yeah, for sure. Sure, there were the first build in 2015, and then there's the rebuild, and then the build again. But yes, do we give credit to ownership a lot? Because like, if Preller was with the Rays, would he have Manny Machado? Would he have Tatis under this contract? Maybe have Tatis, but would he have him under this contract? Would he have Musgrove under this contract? Darvish? These guys, these long-term contracts wouldn't be happening. So yeah, you do have to give a lot of credit to the ownership group, and Preller would as well, obviously. But there's also a lot of underrated finds. I mean, Brandon Lockridge, for example, gave away Enel De Los Santos to the Yankees, got Brandon Lockridge. Jeremiah Estrada, waiver claim. Tatis, when they traded for him, obviously hadn't played a professional game yet with the White Sox. Gave James Shields over to the White Sox. I could go down the line with these moves. Robert Suarez, I don't think there were a bunch of people like, oh, Robert Suarez when he initially signed with the Padres. Nick Martinez there in 2022 coming over back. He was in Major League Baseball, I think, to start and then went overseas. But yeah, Jurickson Profar, I know Profar top prospect once and talented, but continuing to give him chances. Obviously, we know the news that happened, but still, Jurickson Profar. Jackson Merrill, as Preller was saying, wasn't thought of as like this high first round talent. Padres took that chance. Even the guys that haven't ended up coming to the big leagues for the Padres, these are guys that other organizations want. The Nationals, James Wood and Robert Hassel. Have we heard anything about Robert Hassel like since that trade really? But the Nationals wanted him, so there is credit that go to the Padres there for that. Mackenzie Gore, Nationals wanted him. Nationals wanted Merrill too, but the Padres were like, no, not happening. Jake Cronenworth was thought as the throw-in by a lot of people in that Tommy Pham deal and the impact that he's had on this organization. Joe Musgrove wasn't this starting pitcher that he was with that he is now and that he has been. He wasn't that with the Pirates. Still talent, but he was not that with the Pirates. He was a reliever at one point with the Astros. So, yeah, I mean, I could go through a lot of different names. Have there been some misses? Have there been some top prospects that haven't ended up panning out? Sure. But there's been a lot of those smaller moves as well that we can't just all be like, oh, well, ownership, they were able to pay these guys, so that's why we're going to give Preller some credit here. No. He is a heck of a GM. I've gotten on him in the past for sure, but I think he's one of the better GMs in baseball. I mean, we could go through the relievers, right? And, Jason Adam, for example. Having prospects that other teams want, like Dylan Lesko. Have we heard anything about Dylan Lesko since? Robbie Snelling? And you bring in Jason Adam, finding a way to get Tanner Scott. I know it was just that 1 year, but finding a way to get Tanner Scott. Not the biggest fan of Josh Hader, but still one of the best relievers in the game at that time. Find a way. You have guys that that Milwaukee wanted to get Josh Hader. So, yeah, I mean, these moves, they come to mind. Higgy. I know you gave away Juan Soto, but like getting Michael King, getting Higgy, using Drew Thorpe to get Dylan Cease. These are just going to keep flowing through my head here, but you get the point. Yeah, what a time to be alive as a Padres fan. 7-0 and a Merrill extension. Tatis and Merrill for a combined $40 million AAV. You know what? That reminds me. I was going to look this up. So I'm going to actually look it up now here live on the show. Let's see if I can spell. Juan Soto Spot Track. What is his base salary for 2026? $61.875 million. Jackson Merrill, I don't know exactly what he's going to be making, but his luxury tax. Let's just do luxury tax. $51 million for Juan Soto. Jackson Merrill, 15. I mean, that's nuts. Juan Soto's a heck of a talent, but I love me some Jackson Merrill. And then being able to have, Tatis and Merrill combined for $40 million in the AAV, if that's accurate, which I assume it is, Brett. Yeah. I'll tweet that out here in a little bit, but yeah, that's wild. All right. One more check of social media. I'm seeing a good amount of Breaking Tea customers here with these Merrill shirts that Breaking Tea just released. So love seeing that. Again, you can click the link in the description for that. Oh, Shohei just hit a walk-off. Awesome. Well, we can only be happy about what we have here with the Padres, and we're 7-0. So it's a great start. The Padres can only control, I should say, what they can control. 7-0, 2 sweeps of playoff teams last year, a Merrill extension. King and Cease are back on it, looking good. You've got star players that are looking good. Arise getting back into it. So, yeah, on to Wrigley. Day off on Thursday, and then on to Wrigley. It has been a fun week. Thank you all for the time. Much appreciated.